You are Locked On Vikings POSTCAST, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Vikings get their 7th dub in a row, beat the Bears Monday Night Football, prime time, 27-12. What's going on? Back in the lab, back at it. Another Vikings Postcast episode right here, Locked On Sports Minnesota Network, your team every day. Remember, you can always find the show on audio if you'd like to listen. That's under Locked On Sports Minnesota podcast feed. And, of course, on video up on our Locked On Sports Minnesota YouTube channel. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe to keep up with all the action. Lots to get into tonight, fellas. Brian Flores' suffocating defense made life miserable for Caleb Williams tonight. But first, quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by FanDuel. FanDuel, start the season with a huge return with FanDuel. New customers, you can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Go check it all out over at FanDuel.com today to get started. All right, Ron, I always like to start with you. Vikes win their 7th in a row, 12-2. That just still feels weird to say. It was a weird game, man. Kind of a tough watch at most times. Especially for Bears fans, obviously. But bottom line, again, Vikes moved to 12-2. They control their destiny in this race for the number 1 seed. How are we feeling? What are the vibes after this one? And kind of what are your A topics, I guess, tonight as well?
All the stars were in the building, U.S. Bank Stadium. You had Grant Hill. You had Jake Reed. You had Chris Carter. I don't know if you guys know DeVentry, though, from BMF. So he played T in the show BMF. He also was the quarterback in the TV show All-American. He was there. You had Vanilla Ice was there. So it was a star-studded affair. And, it got boring. I think the best part was the people walking around. Like I saw Mark Wilf with Grant Hill, got a chance to connect with them for a minute because Mark Wilf's like, sure, just follow us. And so we went through some secret tunnel underneath and then ended up in some suite. And so we're hanging out up there for a minute. And when you just see that, and then we watch, and of course the game's on every single TV we passed. It was interesting as, like every time out, I moved and I would go somewhere else. And I'm like, man, this game is boring. But it started out pretty good. I'll be honest. It started out good. Justin Jefferson's touchdown. But the one thing I paid attention to was the Bears' offense on third downs. The defense for the Vikings on 3rd and 6 was 4th in the NFL. And today, and I brought this up before, I said Brian Flores, for some reason, 3rd and 7 to 10 was like 21st, I think is what it was. And 3rd 3 to 6, he was 4th. Well, today, no matter what it was, he figured it out. He changed up the coverage. He changed up the blitz. And I got to give a shout out to Fabian Moreau. Like everybody was wondering with Gilmore being out again, what would it look like? And he stood up to the test. Now, part of it, maybe Caleb Williams didn't make some of the throws, but I think the defense did their job. Blake Cashman, Grenard, and then Dallas Turner with that ridiculous sack. Like, I don't know if you guys saw, but he went to a knee.
Yeah.
And still skated through like a dude playing flag
angle,
football,
baby.
trying to like get his flag. He did the little dip and still got up and made the sack. So that was my big one though. The third downs for the Vikings defense was huge.
That was like a Von Miller type of dip there for a second there. But yeah, star-studded event for sure. I'm bummed I missed the Vanilla Ice halftime show. I'll just say that. But
I saw it, Luke. You didn't miss anything.
Apparently there were mic issues in it.
It was
right on brand, man.
The best part
Right
was
on
when
brand.
he did Ice Ice Baby. That was it. The other songs, it was 6 minutes.
Does he have other songs actually?
Yeah,
Wow,
he did. He did 6 minutes. They paid him $60,000, so he made $10,000 a minute. And the only song worth it was Ice Ice Baby.
Okay, fair enough. Luke, I'm kind of with Ron. I thought the defense was the A topic. Like, weird first half, to Ron's point. Bears offense in the first half, 0 for 5 on third downs, 0 for 2 on fourth down. They ran the ball kind of nicely, but just in general, man, super conservative. Caleb Williams, they threw that graphic up at the beginning of the second half. Average yards downfield in the first half, 0.6 yards, which I don't think I've ever even seen that before. But, end of the day, outside of like garbage time, to Ron's point, 1 of 11 on third down, 1 of 3 on fourth down. Brian Flores, it just felt like Caleb's mental clock was just going off all night long.
Yeah, if you were going to do a Brian Flores clinic, you'd put the stats for this game in it.
Yeah.
Where this is precisely like by design exactly what Brian Flores wants you to do. He wants you to turn into a bubble screen team that can't run the ball, that's afraid to push it deep, that can't do anything with any like modicum of timing. You just have to get one step drop and get the ball away because you can't keep your quarterback upright if you try to do anything that takes even a little bit of time. And then you just turn into an offense that can't move the ball because you're throwing everything behind the line of scrimmage. This is precisely what Brian Flores like envisioned when designing this thing. It's exactly what you want. It's beautiful. And then you can get kind of a C+ from the offense and just not even have it be close.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like Sam Darnold's numbers and the interception, okay, maybe not his fault, maybe whatever. But like all in all, Sam Darnold, C+ kind of night, you still win by what, 17, 18 points. So Sam,
no drama at the end. There's a garbage time touchdown, like who cares?
Yeah. Sam
covered the onside kick.
That was big. That had to feel good for Josh Oliver, who, by the way, would have been in that position were he healthy for that game. He would have been in that position where Johnny Munt was.
Oh, that's a good call out right there. Sam, which way do you kind of take that A topic? Like for me, I mean, both of you guys brought up some good points. Like, don't let the box score fool you. Like Caleb, 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hits. That's it. But he was running around for his life. He looked super panicky out there for most of the night. That's the only way I can sit here and explain it, because otherwise he just wasn't very good at all. Like super inaccurate, missing a lot of wide open throws as well. So like more credit to Brian Flores. You want to shift to the offense. You're kind of A topics just to get things going.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen this how many times this year from the defense. They make an inept team look more inept than usual.
Right.
The Bears are regressing in a terrible way as the season goes on. That's 8 losses in a row for them. And I thought ESPN did a really good job of highlighting just how bad a decision maker Caleb Williams was in this game. And I think the Vikings also made him that way. They had him flustered. They had him not willing to sit in the pocket because of those pressures and bluff pressures and the pressure up the middle, the pressure from the edges. I mean, I thought that they had him swirling upstairs. But I will focus on the offense too. Other than a lull to start the second half where they went 3 and out.
Yeah.
They really moved it pretty well, and a lot of times out of disadvantageous positions, like 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12, they were still finding ways to convert, getting themselves in scoring position. They start the game going field goal, touchdown, and then Justin Jefferson drops a touchdown, right? That should have been 7. Then another field goal. I mean, they were constantly in scoring position. They score 30 points on the game. I'm still pretty happy with the offense, and I like this developing trend of their ability to run the ball when they're leading and just melt these games away. Not just running it for 3-4 yards, but running it explosively, running it effectively, and delivering a long touchdown drive, primarily with Aaron Jones and Cam Akers. That feels really good when you have that in your back pocket. And they showed the run-pass balance. Super pass heavy, like 32-11 at one point. But then when they want to grind the game down, they can go to the run and they have that option. That's just a really cool thing to see out of this offense.
Yeah, for sure. Ron, this is game 7 of Wes Phillips down on the sideline. They're 7-0 since Wes Phillips moved down to the sideline. And to Sam's point, too, we should give some flowers to Aaron Jones, 18 carries, 86 yards, almost 5 yards per, which is very solid. Obviously, got in the touchdown, got in the end zone. Cam Akers, 10 carries, 24 yards. A lot of that was in garbage time. But how about this little 1-2 punch of Aaron Jones and Cam Akers? Nobody saw that coming at the beginning of the year. But all in all, just in general, top to bottom, what's the vibe check right now offensively?
Well, when you look at the last 6 games for Sam Darnold, 108 passer rating, which is 4th in the NFL, 8.6 yards per attempt, 3rd in the NFL, 14 touchdowns, 2nd in the NFL, 1,689 yards, 4th in the NFL, 69.5%, 7th in the NFL. He's a top 10 quarterback. The last 6 games, he is a top 10 quarterback. So people can talk about the Jags game. You can talk – doesn't matter. He is a top, and I guarantee when we come back and add these numbers to this total. Now, granted, again, I'm going to go back to that way. If you take that one interception away, his passer rating today is probably 92. I think is what they came up with, and so that interception really knocked him down a peg, and created another, whatever incompletion. So this offense, to me, when you see Justin Jefferson, I don't understand how he comes open so many times. Like if I'm the defensive coordinator for the Bears, on that touchdown, I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, why? Who else are y'all trying to guard in this situation? Like, what are you calling? If you're playing red 2, why are you letting him get behind you? He should be either parallel or side of you. If you're playing quarters in the red zone, same thing. Why is he getting behind you on a corner route or an over route? And so that's the little things with this offense. Like, it's like Kevin O'Connell is doing a great job of scheming. You saw the same touchdown that Jordan Addison had last week on the out return again today, a big first down on an out return. Like, they are doing a great job and Sam Darnold staying in the pocket, trusting these guys. And so the vibe right now for this offense is just, you're going to have a Seahawks team that just came off of a shellacking. You're going to have a Packers team who wants to really just show we're good enough to beat you if we have to play you later in the playoffs. And you're going to play a hurt Detroit Lions game who now is without Montgomery, Anzalone, McNeil got hurt. Aiden Hutchinson's out. Like, I don't know if can their running back, Gibbs, can he carry them carrying the ball 30 times a game? I don't know. He's been a 1-2 punch guy. We've seen a lot of running backs. And again, he's going to have attrition over the next 2 weeks of having to be the lead back before he faces the Vikings for a first round bye in the NFC North. So this is shaping up to be the Vikings season, but it's going to come down to Sam Darnold. And on the broadcast, they were saying this, that Kevin O'Connell just made Sam Darnold a lot of money. And these next 3 games, Sam Darnold can either
Get Sam paid.
In the next 3 games, he can play for $70 million or he can play for $120 million. Like, what he does. And then, of course, how many playoff games can he win? If he gets to the playoffs and lays an egg, that's going to knock him a couple million down. But if he goes through the playoffs and like rips through this NFC and ends up in a Super Bowl, I mean, this becomes a Hallmark movie one year. Like, I'd say 10 years from now, maybe the Sam Darnold Hallmark movie, where all of a sudden, he like the Grinch's heart grows 2 sizes too big. I mean, it could be one of those seasons for Sam Darnold.
Remember when you'd go subscribe to Sports Illustrated, they'd give you like that championship or Super Bowl team clock or like that phone or something. This could be the Minnesota Vikings year to go get that. A lot of good points there, Ron. Plenty more to get into. I want to dissect the biggest plays from tonight and the biggest unsung heroes. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by BetterHelp. When your schedule is packed with work projects and more, it's so easy to start to let your priorities start to slip, even when we know what makes us happy. But when you feel like you got no time for yourself, non-negotiables like therapy, they're more important than ever. If you've been thinking about starting therapy, it's time to give BetterHelp a try. Entirely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. So simple. All you got to do, you fill out a brief questionnaire, you get matched up with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Go visit BetterHelp.com/lockedon. You're getting 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Tonight's episode also brought to us by college football playoffs, because they're starting this Friday, baby. College football, it's back with an expanded 12-team format, guaranteed to be bigger and better than ever, bringing you all the hard-hitting and high-flying excitement that you love. TNT sports coverage of college football playoffs begins December 21st. That starts with the college football playoff kickoff show. That's presented by AT&T at 11 a.m. Eastern. That leads up to our first matchup, SMU battling the Penn State Nittany Lions. That's at noon Eastern. And then after that, it's Clemson Tigers trying to upset the Texas Longhorns. Another showdown that takes place at 4 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss a minute of the action. Watch the college football playoffs presented by Allstate live on TNT, True TV, TBS, and Max. Just real quick here, I want to get into some unsung heroes, kind of the biggest plays of the game that you guys remember stuck out. But just real quick, how about the offensive line shuffle? Brian O'Neill left not once but twice. Darnold was sacked 2 more times tonight. He's kind of been taking multiple sacks here the last 4 or 5 weeks. He took 8 quarterback hits, though, on top of that. So the offensive line maybe not doing a great job tonight holding him up and creating that clean pocket. Sam, concerns about the offensive line. Obviously, the biggest concern was seeing Brian O'Neill return back to the field. So that was huge in itself. Collective sigh there.
Definitely. And you still worry about him not being 100%. Maybe something pops up tomorrow if they examine him further. You do worry about that. You hold your breath about losing your 2 bookend tackles. You've already lost one. The interior did not hold up very well today. We've said that a few times throughout the year. Dalton Reisner's insertion, I don't think has given you a gigantic upgrade over Ed Ingram. I do think that it was warranted. I don't know if it's been like a phenomenal change. I think Garrett Bradbury has moments, right? Like I think that everybody's got some warts. Cam Robinson today had penalty issues. This was not a great offensive line game. That being said, they did enough. They had some good pockets for Sam. Sam hangs in there. I thought if you compare him to Caleb Williams, for instance, his ability to just hang in there that extra 1 second and release the ball, that makes all the difference in the world, right? Like the difference between the quarterback that holds it the longest and holds it the shortest in the NFL, it's like, 0.5, 0.6 seconds? It's not a long time. And Darnold gives you that extra beat just to get the ball out, and I thought the line gave him enough time today to make a number of plays downfield. But we'll watch on the injury report, see what we're dealing with O'Neal. I thought Quessenberry was fine in relief as he's been before.
Yeah.
And, that's not a bad swing tackle to have in your back pocket.
No, for sure. He's no Rashad Hill swing tackle back in the day. But, yeah, absolutely, we'll take him. By the way, that injury, that replay on O'Neal looked nasty. It looked, when a big guy bends like that, the way he's not supposed to,
Got
definitely
a report
again.
on that.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
From Kevin Seifert. Says, Brian O'Neal said his right knee will probably be sore tomorrow, but there are no structural issues.
Boy, knock on wood.
Although sometimes that, you don't know. So I don't know if you're quite in the clear yet.
Sure.
If you wake up with a bunch of swelling, that could be a meniscus thing, and you're in
point.
that world. So
Yeah.
I don't think you're quite out of the woods, but it's nice that all the on-field tests didn't go, oop, tear, got it.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a good point for sure. Let's just talk about, kind of dissect how we got here, right? How we got this 30-12 win. Shout them out. Any of the biggest plays you guys are going to remember from this one when we look back, maybe the biggest turning points, anything that stuck out. Last week it was like that Drake London, Shaq Griffin play. That felt like at the time it was going to kind of loom large, but I know kind of a boring game, kind of a vanilla game in general. But how about it, though? What else stuck out to you guys that kind of swung this in Minnesota's favor tonight?
I think Jerry Tillery getting 2 4th-down stops.
Boy, that was massive.
I don't think he gets credited with the second one, but he was responsible for it. He blew somebody up and in the backfield, and then everybody could kind of rally. But of all people, by the way, Jerry Tillery, who just lost a job to Jalen Redmond, which I think has more to do with Redmond than him, and then coming out in those goal line packages where they got both those guys on the field and blowing it up, that's so huge. They're going in to score and make this a 10-7 game. You get that, kick a field goal, and you're going into half 13-0.
Yeah.
And the Bears now are just the Bears are the team with the most quit in them of the NFL. You can just feel it. And sure, man, everybody's fired. It's a dead season. I get it. But that is the moment where you could just feel the air completely come out of it. Any hope they had, they were like, here we go again.
I didn't see Bo Richter on the first 4th down, but they shouted him out. And as soon as
They
I heard
were
his name,
wrong.
I was like,
It was Tillery. They
showed
saw
the
99
replay.
and thought it was 98.
They showed the replay. I'm like, okay,
he wasn't
I
on
love
the
it.
field.
I love it for the brand, but I don't see him anywhere on the field.
That was they saw 99 making a play.
Boy, that first half, Josh Metellus was getting the flowers nationally that he finally deserves, which you love to see, being that Swiss Army knife for Brian Flores. But he was backing it up, too, with play after play. A lot of run fits in there. And he really, the energy, right? Defensively, you got to have some energy, guys. Ron, the energy that Josh Metellus brought tonight led the team 10 total tackles, 8 solo tackles tonight, too. But all in all, anything else kind of just jump out to you defensively tonight that we haven't touched on?
Not defensively. I just want to bring up the very first 3rd and 17. That to me, Aaron Jones on a little dump off underneath. It could have
same
been
play.
Was that the same play?
Same play as the Mullins one that they got the Bears on before. I'd work on that.
And so, when you think about that 3rd and 17, even though it resulted in nothing, but a field goal, it still was a big part of that game. That was a big point in that game to get points. One, it was kind of it was deflating. You could tell the Bears defenders, when they're like, oh, he dumped off to the running back. All right, let's just rally. And then they miss one tackle, miss another tackle, and then he dives. And then, of course, they think because you see the one guy celebrating. Oh, Jonathan Owens, he's celebrating in front of the bench like he did something. And then you see, I think Keenan McCardle, somebody pointed dude, that's a first down. Get out of my face. And so, and then of course, all the players are in the crowd is yelling to the refs, no, no, no. And then, of course, they get up there and say first down, and then, they change the play and blah, blah. So, even that, that was a huge swing, I felt as far as keeping the Bears humble. Even the Bears doing the skull chants. What do y'all think y'all doing? That to me felt like a change to that. The minute you guys skull chanted on a turnover, all right, you're about to lose. And so that was another one where the minute they did it, I'm like, oh, something's about to happen. and then they never got it right. Like their third downs up until 3rd and 3 later in the game, that pass to Keenan Allen, which was basically looks like a broken coverage. That was the only third down they converted. So those are two for me though. The Skull chant and the Aaron Jones, that was huge.
How about Jonathan Grenard? Really quiet game against Kirk last week. I don't think he had a pressure. Shows up tonight and effectively ended the first 2 Bears drives. He was the guy on the backside on the 4th and 1, first drive of the game. He dragged Swift down. And then the 3rd down strip sack that should have gone for 6. I don't know how Van Ginkel doesn't block Homer on that and spring Cashman. Van Ginkel should have been the one to pick it up because he knows how to find the end zone. But Grenard, right, with the pass rush, he just ended 2 Bears drives to start that football game, set the tone, and it told you right away, it is not going to be easy for the Bears to convert on 3rd and 4th down. It's just not. Like the tone was set immediately and permanently, and the Bears never figured it out. And it's not. And some of those early, right, 4th and 1, twice. Stuff. When they've been running the ball pretty well. So credit the Vikings. Kind of their weighty down defense. This is what they do. They give up some chunks. They give up some yardage. Let teams move a little bit. But when it's a weighty down, they get it. They bolster up and they make big plays, and it's fun to watch. And I just want to point something out too. With this win tonight, did the Vikings avoid the dumb loss this season? Like if they lose any of the next 3, it's not really a dumb loss.
At Seattle gets real dumb.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what I mean.
The way they
lost,
looked, though. Just because the way they looked.
Yeah, they'll be favored in that game. So I still think that they could drop a really idiot one to Sam Howell. I think that's still in the cards.
If it's Sam Howell, that brings dumb back into play. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing me.
Oh
down.
yeah, because his knee, what you call it, got the knee.
Because Gino's hurt.
Yeah.
Same report as O'Neal. No structural damage, they said, but it could flare up.
Which I'm surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if that guy doesn't get a fine letter because he did go low on the quarterback.
Yeah, Edgerrin Cooper, is it?
Edgerrin Cooper, Texas A&M. Yep. Ron, last one, then we'll move to segment 3. Anything we learned tonight that maybe we didn't know coming in? And I know, obviously, not a lot changes week to week in this league, but for good or bad, anything surprising or maybe new stick out to you or any new recent maybe trends you've seen with this team the last few games that, combined with tonight are starting to build something maybe tangible off of?
I don't know about tangible. We learned that Justin Jefferson's human. Like that should have been a touchdown, and he dropped it. And he ran. He looked to the end zone, thinking like, "Oh, I'm about to go in and gritty again," and he just it went through his hands. And so, learn that he's human too. We learned that this is the Vikings offense. Like Sam Darnold has 3 targets: Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and then Hockenson, and that's really it. Like, and so I pray that a guy like Jalen Naylor comes back, or Brandon Powell comes back, or somebody. Because when you get to really, really good teams like the Lions, their goal is going to be, I'm taking these 2 guys away. You got to beat us with somebody else. Because as bad as the Lions were against the Bills, I think that if I'm Campbell, I'm like, look, I know my DBs suck. I'm just going to double team these 2 and see what happens. Because, he was willing to go for it on 4th down just because he said his defense can't – or no, sorry, was the onside kick because he's like, my defense can't stop anybody. So I think that's going to be the key for this too, is like what do the Vikings find? And that tonight kind of show like it's those 3 guys. That's really what this offense comes down to. And Sam Darnold, not to say he gets stuck, but it feels like he does get a little stuck on those 2. Like Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson looks like he's going there first and it's like, okay, let me go somewhere else. And sometimes it's too late. And he had a couple errant throws that I felt like if he came to the right target right away, it's probably a bigger play.
Yeah. Well said. Agree with you there. A couple minutes left. Let's talk about where the Vikes stack up in this NFC path to the 1 seed. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by FanDuel. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, they're giving you a chance at a huge return with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 wager wins. And why I love FanDuel, when you get the hunch in the middle of the game, you can go check out the latest stats. You can view live play-by-play and so much more, all on the same page where you place your bets. Again, $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 wager wins. If it were me, I'd be looking at a heavy favorite money line to get those bonus bets. Just for example, Bills at home versus the Patriots next week. The Bills are minus 900 to win that game straight up. Go check it all out over at FanDuel.com. Get in on some more Thursday night football action while you're there. We got Broncos Chargers in LA. Current spread Chargers by 3. Over under sitting at 42.5. Again, check it all out over at FanDuel.com and get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed if your first $5 wager wins. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. By the way, full deep dive from this one on the Minnesota Football Party with our guy Arif Hassan. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, keep up with all the action. Again, every Monday, every Thursday. Ron, okay, this NFC picture obviously getting a little bit clearer. Lions, Eagles, probably Vikes we can confidently say in this top tier. Last week I asked you guys, are the Vikes in the middle of tier 1 and tier 2? Because you got Washington, Green Bay, teams like Arizona, Seattle. Vikes feel like they're higher than them. But before tonight, maybe before even last week, people were a little bit, tepid or timid to put the Vikings in that top tier with the Lions and Eagles. Are they confidently in that top tier? And what do you say to the naysayers that say the Vikings haven't beat anybody credible yet? A lot of wins to kind of 500 type of teams. San Francisco game, Texans game when we look back, maybe not quite the premier prestigious win that we thought they were maybe at the time. What do you say to those people?
Well, one, this might go back through the Rams. Like the way it's shaping up right now, the Vikings might have to go back to LA.
Might have to go beat the two teams you haven't beaten, the Rams and Lions. Who knows?
Yeah. They might have to go back to LA because a lot of people said maybe the Bucks, but who knows? Like it could be the 4-seed Rams that win the NFC West. And right now, 54% chance they're in the 4, and then 83% chance the Bucks are in the 3.
Yep.
I feel like that's going to happen. 99% chance the Packers are going to be in the 6 because they're not going to get past the Vikings. And I think they're saying Vikings are locked at 5 at worst at this point. So I put them in that top tier. I do. I put them up there with the Eagles and Lions. I hate to say it. I'm scared to say it, but I got to do it when you look at the way this defense plays. Offensively, we know what they are. But defensively has always been a question mark. And again, I go back to this. Brian Flores' 3rd and 6 defense on 3rd down was 4th in the NFL, and it showed tonight. Like he showed, this is one of those games where they say you're supposed to win, and he won the game. The other thing too, in this game was the same way. The offensive plays run by the Bears and the Vikings were pretty close, and they were close in the last 6 games as well, 492 to 499. But the Vikings are just way more efficient with the ball than the Bears are. And so that was the other thing about being a playoff team. You have to be efficient with the ball, and the Vikings offense is really efficient. Now, granted, the Bears suck, but they were efficient with a lot of their play calling. I got to give Kevin O'Connell. Other than that 4th down that he threw the interception, I mean, it was a pretty clean game.
100%. Yeah, Sam, Luke, thoughts on the just kind of the Vikings confidence meter compared to elite teams, quote unquote, right? We know Detroit's hobbled, but a team like Philly in the mix as well.
Well, yeah, like what teams does this need to be?
Right.
Like,
well, you can only
they've
play.
Beaten division winners.
They've
beaten teams that are going to be in the playoffs. They took it to the Packers too in Lambeau, by the way. I mean,
and they smoked Green Bay, by the way, for 3.
Yeah, they smoked Green Bay for 3.5 quarters, and then some weird backdoor nonsense happened that. I don't know. Like, who do you need them? Basically, that argument is, well, they didn't beat the Lions, which is pretty weak.
I think the gap's narrowed. I mean, I think you're taking into account Detroit's issues on defense. That's going to make it hard for them to win multiple games to get to a Super Bowl. Almost more concerned about Philly being the 1 seed. If the path goes through Philly, they might be a better 3-phase football team right now than Detroit, even though Detroit's got probably the highest end offense. They just lost a key piece in Montgomery. Yep. Vikings coming off wins of 21 and 18 in consecutive weeks. And if the Vikings run the table, I don't know how you don't make them. Well, first of all, if they run the table, they're the 1 seed.
Yeah, that's beating Seattle, Green Bay, and Detroit, by the way. Like there's 3 tough games coming up.
Those will put the cherry on top for sure.
Yeah. So we'll know. We'll know who the King of the Hill is by the end of the season. And
they have to beat the Packers though, too. Though I mean, you can't lose if you lose one of these next two.
Packers are playing good.
The Packers are not. I don't think the Packers. I mean, the Packers, if they beat the Vikings, the Packers don't lose to the Bears, and they're not losing to the Saints. So the Packers could end up in the 5, and the Vikings could be the 6 if
Is
they
there
happen.
The Vikings would need to win one more.
Just real quick, to Ron's point,
That's what I mean.
there,
They got to beat one of them. They got to beat one of them.
Yeah.
just real quick.
Oh, I see what. Yeah.
To Ron's point, is there any world, just knowing Lions just lost Ayla McNeil, David Montgomery, Carlton David, they are so banged up. Is there any world where the Packers can still get this 1 seed? I know you guys crunched. I know, Sam and Luke, you guys crunched the seedings.
They can't because of who they play. They can't because of who they play. So it's going to come down to Vikings-Lions because the Lions would have to lose every game.
Got it.
And that's not going to happen. And the Vikings would have to lose to the Packers and the Lions. The Packers would have to beat the Saints, Bears, and they beat everybody. They have 4 losses. Vikings have 4 losses, and the Lions would have 4 losses. At that point, I don't know. I
think the Lions beat the Packers twice, though. Have they not?
The Lions would have the tiebreaker there.
Over
the
Green
Eagles,
Bay.
first of all, the Eagles would probably remove the equation. The question is more like, can the Packers steal the North?
Yeah, sure. Yep.
And I think that would, obviously require the team like Packers or the Lions and Vikings to lose next 2 weeks.
Somebody's got to win the Vikings-Lions game. And then
I got to get out of here.
Yep.
Oh,
see you,
out of
Ron.
here.
Appreciate it. Check him out on the Ron
See ya.
Johnson Show every Tuesday. Great interview with Andrew Sendejo last week. If you haven't checked that out, go check it out. Continue. Sorry, guys. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, just that. Yeah, I mean, it comes down to in Week 18. Obviously, Vikings or Lions probably have to win unless we have a tie.
They would need a tie, I think, in that one.
Lions would have the tiebreaker, and then Vikings. If they lose to Green Bay, I don't know how that tiebreaker would shake out. Comes down to divisional, then common games. Don't have that crunched right now.
Got it.
Unlikely the Packers could win the North.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, there's technically a path, but they'll be traveling somewhere just like the Vikings will, unless they go take it back over from the Lions. But hey, if the Lions are they got to go on the road to Soldier and play the same Bears team, and I don't know, maybe the Bears can pull something together on a short
the Lions,
week. But the 49ers are big and physical against a banged up defense. It could happen.
So, but by losing to Buffalo on Sunday, that affords the Vikings maybe a chance to drop one of the next 2 and still have the Lions drop one of the next 2, and then they're back on even footing going into Week 18. I don't think it's unrealistic that the Lions lose one on the road next 2 weeks and the Vikings drop one of the next 2, and then they come in 13-3, both of them, and battle it out in Week 18. Might not. The sad thing is you might not get the 1 seed then. You're probably battling for the 2, which still is not a home place to be. Yep.
You got the Commanders coming to town or something. You take that over having to travel to LA or play in Tampa with
2 home games. You get 2 home games really, which is pretty valuable.
True.
Which team scares you more in the playoffs going on the road to their place? Is it easily Philly over Detroit now after everything that's just kind of unfolded the last 24 hours?
Both tough. Might have to beat both.
Oh, man. Brutal.
Don't win the Super Bowl without beating all the good teams, man. That's how it goes.
I know. It's just funny.
There's no cupcakes in the playoffs. That's the whole point of them.
Hey, be the best. You gotta beat the best. Vikes Seahawks in Seattle next week. Sam alluded to it. Possible trap game. Who knows? Back to the noon kickoff, which I always like, but always a tough place to play.
3 o'clock. 3 o'clock.
Oh, it is 3 o'clock. Oh, then maybe they moved it.
West Coast.
Always a tough place to play. Geno Smith hobbled. Sam Howell looked really bad when he went in. I don't have any updated news on Geno Smith since this morning's football party show. But again, Green Bay just beat them quite handedly. But Seattle at home, never an easy week. Sam, just early kind of bullet points or quick thoughts, top of your head.
Yeah, I mean, Howell is another quarterback that you could make look pretty silly. And they've got weapons over there, but if they don't have a quarterback that can unlock them, it totally changes the equation. We looked at the line earlier. It's almost as if they're anticipating Smith doesn't play. Vikings favored by 4.5.
Yeah, I don't think they're right about that then.
That seems
Bob Condata is a Seattle reporter. Spoke with Mike McDonald, and they seem to be optimistic right now that he's going to be able to practice all week, which probably means he's playing.
Boy, that seems like a pretty generous line then. If they think Smith's going to play, Vikings favored by 4.5.
Kind of just got dunked on by a team the Vikings beat earlier this year.
Well, they kind of just won 4 in a row before that, and they've got a really good offense. So I'm nervous about the game. Going to Seattle.
You're a
place
Viking
where-
fan. You're a long life Minnesota.
Well, of
sports
course
fan.
we'll all be nervous.
Yeah, I mean, we're
natural.
hardwired this way. I'm a little nervous as well, whether Sam Howell plays or not. I'm pretty nervous as well.
Haven't won
for
in
sure.
Seattle since 2006.
Ooh, is that true? AP?
West Coast,
no,
man,
not
it's
even
tough.
AP.
Not
What
even
the-
They win in LA.
Corin Robinson? What game was that?
Chester
Taylor, I think.
Taylor
Chester.
ran for a
Chester.
95
Oh,
yard TD.
man, I remember that now. Chester. Okay.
Lieber
fair
had
enough.
a defensive touchdown, I think. 31-13 Vikings win week
For
6 of that season. But yeah, I think that the next 3, I mean, this is a great way to end the year. You get to prove yourself. You get to have really playoff-like atmospheres for the next 3 games.
Mhm.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be great. Final 60 seconds. Any parting thoughts? Maybe unload the clip, so to speak. Luke, kick us off. Biggest play from tonight. Here's my best moment tonight was JJ catching that touchdown, giving Randy Moss a shout out on prime time. That was phenomenal. Absolutely,
Man, I'm
love
a
that.
wreck. I'm a wreck about this. Randy Moss has meant so much to me my whole life.
100%.
Like
Yeah.
growing up with him, like he was the embodiment of what I have always thought is cool. Everything he has done is now my definition of what is cool, and that's been the way that it's been for me since I was 6 years old.
Did he get you into football like me? Like just the
No,
wow
Chris Carter
play?
did.
Okay. It was Carter for you.
Chris Carter did before '98, but I mean, I was born here, but
Right. Right.
But like seeing Chris Carter and Jake Reed coming out for the coin toss, absolute mess. Like I could not focus on anything I was doing for like the whole first quarter. Just total wreck.
Chills,
and then
goosebumps for me. Yeah.
and then the shout out in the end zone is just like, oh my God.
Yeah, what a night, man. What a special
RandyMoss.com.
night.
You can go buy merch that says Let's Moss Cancer. I already ordered mine.
Good shout out for sure. Sam left for about 15 seconds.
I'm
and he's
really
gonna bust
trying
something
not
out
so.
here. He's gonna
Yeah, well, I
bust
got a
something.
piece of memorabilia that I don't want to ruin because it's like taped. I don't want to tear it. But
Sounds
you
like
know
it's
what-
already in great condition. Yep.
You know what this is?
the
Oh my
3D?
goodness.
The
You know what this
3D?
is?
Where's the
An
Burger
old
King
3D
logo?
poster?
Where's the Burger King logo?
I don't know. They don't sponsor the show.
Oh,
You don't
okay,
have to unfurl it.
Yeah.
This is also an audio show anyways.
Props.
But that is I had that in my room when I was a
Props.
kid.
There's the BK.
There's the Burger King logo.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
When you lose the gambling segment, you gotta I don't know. You gotta give that away to somebody, a charity of some kind.
Yeah, this is a relic. I'm just remembered that I had that sitting here, but yeah, that was a great moment tonight. Very cool stuff. I also thought that TJ Hawkinson's yak was impressive tonight.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
On
I
third
walked
and long
away like-
especially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
TJ moving around well.
I needed him. I
He
told
like
you guys.
juked a guy.
Yeah. I told you guys. I didn't start Devontae Adams. I started Cooper Kupp.
Getting
I've been
crossed
bumming
up by
all-
Zach Edey, dude. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, I needed Hawkinson. I was definitely going nuts. I was shouting his name all night long. Great stuff, guys. Can't wait to continue to break this down on the Thursday episode of the Football Party. Vikes win their 7th in a row. 12-2 Minnesota Vikings. Are you kidding me? Flores defense cooked tonight. Final score 30-12. Hey, huge shout out to all the everydayers out there that always make us your first listen. Again, check out the Ron Johnson Show every Tuesday. Luke Braun always crushing it over on Locked On Vikings. Sam Ekstrom, he's the captain of the Minnesota Football Party. Again, that's every Monday. It's every Thursday. Make sure you like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. December 22nd, Vikes Seahawks West Coast trip. Should be another great one. We'll see you next time. But until then, signing out.